Now coming to the concrete. Let me start with the cement. Now what is cement mortar? Now this cement is mixed with water and fine aggregates to produce cement mortar. Now this cement mortar is used for masonry work. Cement mortar is generally used to bind bricks or laterite stones, tiles, etc. You can see the cement mortar, how it appears. Now this cement mortar does not have anything other than just itself cement. That means it is cement and sand mixed with water. Now when cement is mixed with water, sand and aggregates, it produces concrete. Now concrete possesses high compressive strength. Now this property of possessing good compressive strength is utilized in plain cement concrete, and works such as foundation works, lean concrete works, etc. are all done with PCC. Though concrete is treated in design as homogeneous material, it is not homogeneous material. Its strength and structural properties may vary greatly depending upon its constituents and method of manufacture. Concrete possesses high compressive strength. This property is utilized in PCC itself. Now this PCC is used in mass concrete works such as gravity dams, retaining walls. The concrete is also designated as ordinary concrete, standard concrete or normal strength concrete, high strength concrete, that is HSC, and ultra high strength concrete UHSC, based on the strength it would attain in 28 days. As per IS 456 table number 2 clause 6.1, it gives us different types of grades of concrete. Clause 6.1.2 specifies that minimum grade of concrete for plain and reinforced concrete shall be as per table 5 of the code. Now the concrete of grades M15, M20, M25 and lower than M15 may be used for plain concrete constructions or lean concrete, simple foundations or foundations for masonry walls and other simple or temporary reinforced concrete construction as specified in table 5 of IS 456. It also says depending upon the exposure conditions. Similarly, concrete of grades M20, M25, M30, M35 and M40 may be used for reinforced concrete constructions such as building construction as specified in table 5 of IS 456 clause 6.1.3 depending upon the exposure condition. Generally, the grades M30 to M80, thus these grades of concrete are used in bridges or pre-stressed concrete works, etc. It is noteworthy that though concrete possesses high compressive strength, its tensile strength is very low, about 10% of its compressive strength. For this reason, steel reinforcements are often included in the tension zone or the tension portion of the concrete to increase the tensile strength of the member. Such concrete is known as reinforced cement concrete RCC or sometimes just called as RC. Now, reinforced concrete puts forth the best qualities of concrete and steel, that is high compressive strength of concrete and high tensile and compressive strength of steel. The part of concrete which is subject to tension is reinforced with steel bars to take up the tensile stresses which are generated in that region. Therefore, only RCC is used in structures, that is building structures or other structures, and not PCC, because in PCC there is no steel, that is plain cement concrete. In RCC there is steel and this steel takes care of the tension. Sometimes in order to enhance the load carrying capacity in the compression zone beyond that of concrete alone, steel reinforcement may be embedded in the compression zone also. Okay, the steel which is embedded in the compression zone also, it also is good in resisting compression. As I said earlier, steel is good in resisting compression as well as tension. Normally we find this feature in columns. Now I have given over here two sketches. Consider a cantilever beam subject to the uniformly distributed load throughout its span as shown in figure. We observe that the bottom portion of the beam is subjected to compression, whereas the top is under tension. You can obviously visualize that part. The curve is there, the bottom is in compression, top is in tension. The concrete in the bottom portion resists the compression, whereas as the tension in the top portion goes on increasing, the concrete in the top portion starts cracking. It starts cracking because its tensile strength capability has been reached. The bending moment is maximum in the beam at the fixed end, and the cracks are seen developing from this portion onwards. Obviously, a plain cement concrete beam as such would crack and fail at this portion itself. Once the cracks start yielding, obviously the beam would crack and it would collapse. Now, in order to prevent such a failure, steel reinforcement would be needed to be placed in the beam at the top to resist the tension developed due to bending moment. The reinforcement provided in the tension zone is called tension reinforcement or simply tension steel. Also, when the beam deflects, look at the other figure, the right hand side, the shear forces develop in the beam along with bending moments as explained earlier. The diagonal cracks develop in the beam in the portion having higher shear stresses. In order to prevent cracking due to these high shear stresses, reinforcing bars have to be provided vertically as U-shaped or rectangular all along the beam, that is lengthwise, to take care of the shear stresses. These U-shaped or rectangular reinforcement bars, this is known as the shear reinforcement. Therefore, in reinforced concrete, steel reinforcement is provided only when tensile stresses are present, which the concrete cannot resist all by itself. When the steel reinforcement is placed in the appropriate regions in the right manner and quantity, then only it is effective as reinforcement. Let us take another example. As I have said, the RCC puts its best qualities together: high compressive strength of concrete and high tensile strength resisting capability of steel together. Now let us consider another one. Consider a singly supported beam subjected to the UDL throughout its span. Over here we can see the bending of the beam, and because of the bending from the central middle portion the cracks originate. If it was only of PCC, these cracks would yield and eventually the beam would collapse. Since there is tension in the bottom, steel reinforcement is provided in the bottom, which we see in the bottom figure. You can see the cross section also where the steel bars are shown. The concrete is very good in compression, so no steel reinforcement is necessary. On the right hand side, the picture shows the same simply supported beam subjected to UDL, but the shear force diagram. Shear force is maximum at the midpoint. Now this shear force also creates cracking, and in order to resist the shear force, the diagonal crackings are there. So in order to resist that, U-shaped or rectangular shaped stirrups are provided. What we observe is that the advantage of providing steel bars is that due to its high strength, only a very small amount of steel is needed to be provided to increase the load carrying capacity of concrete. Generally, it is about 0.2% to 2% only for beams, and even lesser, 0.12% to 2% for slabs, and about 0.8% to 4% for columns. Sometimes, in order to enhance the load carrying capacity in the compression zone beyond that of concrete alone, steel reinforcement may be embedded in the compression zone also, since steel has high capability of resisting compression too. This we see in columns. Consider a column subjected to load. On the left hand side, we see a plain concrete column that can take the load only PC. If I use the reinforcement in that, the reinforcement will be able to take the load PS, and when I join both of them together, put the reinforcement in the column, the total load carrying capacity, as you see in the third sketch, is PC plus PS. The total load resisted by the column is much more than PC, so it is the combined effect of PC plus PS approximately, as I have just mentioned it over here in this case.